GCSE DT is honestly one of the weirdest exams because there's just so little about it online. I found it really hard to work out what to revise, how to get a good grade in it. I literally didn't really know what to do. And so it took me ages to try and to practice it, to work on it, and to finally find out how to revise it. Luckily for you, you've got this video because what I'm going to do is give you guys the best advice for this paper that helps me get a 9. Now, the biggest problem with DT is that most students, just like me basically, they didn't really know how to revise it. And so therefore, they didn't really revise it. And they're confused about the paper. And they miss loads of easy chances to improve their grade. And that's why they kind of panic and don't do too well in DT. But honestly, this is one of the easiest GCSE papers there is. And I'm going to explain why in this video. Please make sure as well to subscribe and leave a like and let me know if you have any questions. The first thing then to help you is I have compiled a completely free guide that if you click the link in the description, type in your email, then you'll get it. Now, obviously you don't need to get this, but I just tried to make it as helpful as I can. It kind of puts into writing some of the stuff I'm saying in this video, gives you guys some areas to practice. One other note as well, this video is mainly focused on AQA. I'd probably recommend watching it even if you don't do AQA, but it's going to be more beneficial to those who do AQA. So let's get into this then. Now, the thing that helped me the most is when I started looking through loads of papers and I realized that they break down really, really easily. So I'll read out now. This is how the paper, this is how some of the marks in the paper are structured. So 10% of the marks are maths, 15% are science. There's 10% multiple choice questions, although that usually overlaps a little bit with the maths and science. Then there is 12% for evaluating products, which is where you'll get product and asked to evaluate it based on different metrics and stuff. Then you will get around 10%, which is an essay question, again, which is pretty easy. That is over 50% of the marks that I've just broken down that are gonna come up in your exam. Okay, and it's not that bad. The maths isn't anything crazy. It's usually calculating an average, making a measurement, trigonometry, that type of thing. Okay, so when you break it down like that, this is not a really, really hard paper. There is, multiple choice, like I said, those are very common questions. There's 10 marks for multiple choice straight away. So it's not that bad. And for me, I found breaking it down and then getting really good at each of those individual components, that got me the bulk of the grade. And then the other 50%, which by the way, you don't need 100% obviously for a 9 or something. But the other 50% was a mixture of a lot of practice, learning, targeted revision, and guesswork. So let's kind of go through each of the stages and show how you can improve at those stages. Now, the one thing I will say is I'm going to try and release this video 3 days before something the exam. So if you are watching this with time to spare and revise, it's really worth putting some effort into this, okay? I can guide you and show you where you need to be targeting your revision. But if you want to get the best grade, it's worth putting effort into this. I was personally motivated because it was one of the final exams. Anyway, so let's start with the multiple choice. Now, multiple choice, you will open the paper and in section A, which is 20 marks, 10 of those are just multiple choice questions like that. Now, the multiple choice, it's not that bad, okay? You're probably going to, by guessing, get at least 5 marks here. However, I knew if I was aiming for a 9, right, that I wanted to get ideally close to full marks, maybe drop only 1 mark. So there's a pretty simple way to deal with the multiple choice questions. And basically what I'd recommend is going through every single past paper you can find, print out only the multiple choice questions or get them up on your computer, whatever, go through all of them and mark them, okay? And maybe even repeat that. So just basically do loads of those past multiple choice questions. Many are really repetitive, many is common sense, combine that with process of elimination. So, it's definitely not this, it's definitely not this. And you should be fine. You should get at least, 7 marks. That's what you need to do there, is just practice those. They're very similar things each year. The more you look through GCSE DT papers, the more familiar you're going to get. So I'd really recommend doing that. If it were me, I know I did. I printed out papers. I just made sure I was super, super familiar with it. So the multiple choice isn't too bad. Ideally you've learned some DT. So some of the concepts you understand. But like I said, the more past papers you do, especially multiple choice, which by the way takes less than 10 minutes, the better that you're going to get. So then obviously 10% is maths. Now in the free guide, I've broken down what maths parts you need to know. Like I said though before, it's very commonly a simple calculation, trigonometry, measuring something, angles. It's not that bad. And I think you'll be a little surprised at how much maths there is. There's often very 3-mark maths questions, all of that sort of thing. And then with the science as well, it's where science literally crosses over with DT. So stuff like rust and corrosion in chemistry, it's not you're not going to be asked about photosynthesis again. It's kind of the overlap between DT and science. So even though that might sound hard, it's not that bad. So that's quite nice as well. So that's the advice. That's already about, 25, 30% of the exam is the multiple choice maths and science. So there's lots of things you can do to practice that. But obviously knowing like what maths they can test you on, what science they can test you on, and what is in section A in general is really helpful. Now, along these lines, I'd really recommend reading the specification for DT. Okay, if you don't know what specification is, that's fine. It's a list of what you need to know. But I'm sure lots of you guys are familiar with the specification. You probably heard loads of YouTubers and stuff say it. But for DT, it's really good. Have a read of it. I'll link it in the description. Just open it and read it. Okay, and you will see what they want you to know, and then you can kind of put some effort into knowing that stuff. So that's those. So then we have an evaluation question. Now this will look like that. And it's not that bad at all, okay? So the biggest thing as well is that a lot of students just don't really put enough here. They don't really understand some of the key words. So again, this is where very minimal effort will get you lots of marks, because you need to learn these things. You need to learn what ergonomics means, because sometimes you could be asked to evaluate a product in terms of its ergonomics. Same with anthropometrics. I don't know if I said that right. I think I did. So ergonomics is basically how like a human interacts with a product. So it's all about making the product kind of work for the human. So we're thinking about things like injury risk, like whether it fits well, whether you have to strain using it, any risks like that. I definitely didn't have to Google that definition before, by the way. I might be a little bit rusty. That's ergonomics. Anthropometrics is basically human body measurements. So kind of the way anthropometrics work is that what designers want to do is make sure that product appeals to, I believe, 97% of like the human population in terms of body measurements. So you might have someone who's super, super tall. You might have someone who's super, super short, right? Most products aren't going to be designed for them, but there's a range where it will work for the average human measurement. That's in theory, right? So that's anthropometrics, that's ergonomics. There are a couple other things like that, like you might be asked to evaluate it in terms of its aesthetics, its suitability, its environmental prospects, for example. So these are 4 marks each usually, but sometimes they can be 2 6-mark questions. What you just really need to do is literally just use your brain and think, how does this work in relation to this? Is it really aesthetic? Is it this? And what you need to do is explain them and pick out lots of points. Using words like the cat's words, if you've seen my geography or history videos, consequently, as a result, this means that. Just really try and explain it, and you need to go into detail, okay? So if I'm asked to evaluate a product in terms of its aesthetics, I'm bringing out loads of things. Maybe it has really bright colors, which might appeal to people that like that, like children. But maybe it's blah, blah, blah. It's that type of thing, right? So you've got to use detail and practice these. Look at past paper questions again. All of what I'm saying will be solidified if you go through and you look at past paper questions. It's really worth doing that. Right, then you have an essay. This can be between 8 and 12 marks. It is at the end of section B, I believe. It might be section C, but I think it's at the end of section B. And it looks like that. Now, the essay is often more of like a moral issue. It is around something like the environment, or, it's that type of thing. That's usually what it's like. So social, like how good it is for society, the weighing up the trade-offs and the risks. And the main advice I have here is that so many students just don't write enough. It's a 2-hour paper. I don't even know why it's 2 hours. That's like the only paper that I was just sat at the end for so long. So use the time on this essay. I know you may be thinking, oh, it's an 8-mark essay, that's nothing. But my advice here is I would write an introduction, at least 3 full paragraphs, and a conclusion. Okay, use the extra space. Like, you want to write so much in that question, you use the extra space. But what I'm saying overall is don't just treat it like an 8-marker that you just do like a couple lines. Like, if you've got the time, properly structure this like an essay. Really think about the points you're going to make. So you could think, in terms of the points that you might make, you could think about things like PESTLE, so political impact, environmental impact, like whatever works for you basically. But you've got to have a look at some of these past ones, look at the mark schemes again, and write enough. That's my biggest advice. I'm sure you'll be able to write an essay. You've done it loads by now throughout exam season. So please just put in effort for this question, writing enough detail. And almost always, if you've got a really good introduction, a really good conclusion, you're really answering that question, you've got clear points, you're bringing in some examples, you're going to be fine. And you'll get the high marks as well. So some other advice then for kind of the rest of the paper. The first thing is use your common sense. DT is one of the most common sense exams, right? For me, there was honestly quite a lot of guesswork. So for example, I had a question in my exam that was saying like, why is this certain plastic, which I can't pronounce, used for water bottles, right? And I just guessed, right? If it's used for water bottles, it's probably waterproof, right? Big shock. It's stuff like that, or maybe it is lightweight and that's why it's good for water bottles. Like, I don't know. I know the waterproof thing's right, but the point is guess. if you're asked why is this wood used for pianos, for example, I don't know, maybe it has an aesthetic quality and it looks really nice, or maybe it is like strong enough to withstand, or strong enough to last for a long time. Durable is the right word there. So just use your common sense, use your knowledge, and along these lines as well, use facts that you know about. Parts of DT is focused around companies and design process and all of that. So there's a couple of examples I used just from stuff that I just knew. So for example, James Dyson, when he was kind of like designing the Dyson vacuum, he went through, I think, something crazy like 1,000 iterations, right? 1,000 repeats to get his product. So that's an example of the iterative process where you're just repeating and you're practicing. And I always like to use that example to show why that's important. It helped him get and refine a really, really good product. But again, you know about Apple, right? You know the things Apple do that makes them really good, their kind of research process, the way they, it's all of that sort of stuff. So just use what you know about companies. Don't be afraid to just drop in examples and things that you know about. So for example, you could get a question that asks why, like, you need to, well, actually, I'll read out a question here. So this is a 6-mark question. And it says, describe how prototypes help designers to ensure a product is fit for intended purpose. And it's 6 marks, and it says, give examples. So explaining why prototypes are useful, right? I mean, that's quite an easy question for 6 marks. So I don't know what I'd be saying there, how they design it's fit for purpose. Well, with a prototype, you can kind of visually see how it works. You can potentially see how it's going to like fit together. You can do tests on the prototypes. It's like that type of thing, right? And then I'd use the Dyson example that I just gave you. So just what I'm saying is you can go quite far with a lot of common sense. Obviously, you want to research. Obviously, there's still things you could do to revise, but just don't leave anything blank. Like, I really wouldn't recommend leaving anything blank. Another point then is think about the points. So this is a 6-mark question that I read out. Now, I wouldn't be writing like 2 or 3 lines. I'm thinking, okay, it's 6 marks. I'd probably be going for at least 2 paragraphs, 2 big paragraphs, 3 small paragraphs. I want to be making like 6 points. So, well, actually, I'd be wanting to make like 3 points with each one with an example or an explanation, that type of thing. So just have a think about the marks as well. You will, if you just go through and you write a couple words there, you're not going to get the marks. It really is about like pushing yourself, stretching everything further and really explaining and using examples. Now, in terms of content, YouTube is good. There's some YouTube content. And Seneca Learning is pretty good. So again, in my free guide, I kind of detailed the Senecas that I think that are worth doing, just to like, I did them for section A, the multiple choice, and it just gave me that DT knowledge, the background knowledge, because like, you can't necessarily just wing the entire thing if you're going for a high grade. So it is worth learning about specific design processes. For example, you need to learn about a specific like material and then the things you could do with that material. So I think I learned about wood and I learned about like sanding wood. I didn't even know, like making joints with wood. I can't really remember. But the point is, make sure you know what you need to learn about, and then you can watch a couple of videos about the process. Like soldering is another one that often comes up. I would watch some YouTube videos on like those specific design processes that are in the specification, and that just allow me to, because you're probably going to get a question where you have to like describe or pick a material and describe a process associated with that material, and then you can like draw it and stuff. And for me, watching YouTube videos really helped that, because then I kind of knew what was going on. I hope that was helpful. I know it was quite long, and I know it was full of slightly disconnected advice, but honestly, this video probably contains about 50% of all of the online information on DT. That's how niche it is. So yeah, like I said, I hope you find it helpful. I'm just going to summarize now. So fundamentally, you need to make sure you know what you're being tested on. A lot of the textbooks are kind of not really helpful, because with DT, you aren't expected to know everything. You're meant to like specialize in like a material like wood, plastic, metal, right? There's some information you need to know, and then with the rest, you specialize. So if you're just revising out of textbook, you might risk learning stuff you don't really need to know. So that's one part. But secondly, knowing what you need to know allows you to focus your revision. Okay, that's super, super important. Along these lines then, the more past papers you look at and do and mark yourself, the better you're going to get. It's as simple as that. Especially the evaluation questions, the multiple choice questions. Honestly, like if you do that, you will get very good at the DT exam. And then you can still learn content through Seneca Learning. And yeah, it's just about breaking it down. So like I said, I hope that's helpful. Please make sure to leave like if you found that helpful. If you didn't find it helpful, then feel free to dislike it. But yeah, thanks for watching everyone, and best of luck.